listening to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast with Wendy Johnson, episode number 33.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello, beautiful friends. How are you doing today? I'm happy to be here and to talk to you today about 5 simple steps to be consistent. It's so easy to fall prey to procrastination or getting bogged down on trivial and unimportant things, such as your daily life chores, just getting by. I'm often asked, so how do you stay consistent with something? Because it's important to me, and when clients are working with me, to always try to set time aside to do actions that help me get further ahead, where I'm achieving big goals. Often I'll hear a client say, I do great for a couple of weeks, and then next thing you know, I go on a hiatus and I have to start all over again, and it's that much harder. So what I'm going to answer today is, how do you stay consistent? And how do you stay on task and not get burned out or quit? And all of us struggle to stay consistent in some part of our lives. It's really worth working on because the rewards of being consistent are huge. Right now, I want to give you 5 secrets to help you be more consistent. And the first secret is to focus on your why. In order to stay consistent over the long term, you have to have a clear and purposeful vision for what you're trying to achieve. And you also need to know why you want to do it. It's a lot easier to exercise every day if you're getting in shape for a seasonal hobby, such as snow skiing or hiking the Inca Trail in Peru. Or it's a lot easier to save money if you're saving for something that's important to you. You may be saving for your first house or car purchase or a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Oftentimes when we get started on a goal, we forget why we're doing it. So it's important to write it down and to keep it front and center that you can refer back to if you're not up to doing it. You maybe forgot your reason. And the second secret is to choose your goal. And I'm saying goal, not goals. Pick one thing and stick with it until you've accomplished it and you've made it a habit. The reason why is we have limited capacity when it comes to willpower and discipline. That's why science says in their research to not quit doing everything all at once. Say you've decided to quit drinking caffeine. It doesn't mean that you also want to quit eating sugar, eating white starches, quit drinking alcohol. Only pick one of those goals, not all of them at the same time. You only have the capacity to work on one goal at a time. And you're setting yourself up for failure, denying yourself everything all at once. That's a short-term goal that you'll eventually fail. So pick one thing, and when you make that a habit consistently and you win at that goal, then you can move on to the next goal. Secret number 3 is to prioritize it. Steve Covey said in his best-selling book, The 7 Habits of Successful People, is a major secret is consistency. And in it, he says, don't prioritize your schedule. Schedule your priorities. When you're trying to build something in your life, you have to build your life around it rather than trying to fit it in. So think about this when you're setting a goal and you want to be consistent at it, that you're not squeezing it in and it's not a last minute deal. This is something that comes first in your calendar, and it's a priority, and everything else evolves around that priority. The reason why I'm making a podcast episode every week is because I'm building my entire week around making this the most important task I do for my work. Also, I've had PT exercises for the past 6 months since my ACL knee surgery. And that is a priority, and that gets scheduled. I'm building back my leg muscles to what they were before the surgery. And these tasks are non-negotiable. I get them done no matter what. And here I've mentioned 2 goals, but the second goal, I didn't plan on that at the beginning of the year. I didn't know that I was going to have the knee surgery in May, and I didn't know that I would have as much physical therapy as I'm doing now. But I didn't want to give up on my previous goal of recording a podcast every week. And secret number 4, don't react to your feelings. You've heard me say this on many episodes, and that's to listen to your feelings. But there's a time you want to feel your feelings and do it anyway. And this is the time. To develop consistency, you have to ignore the voice in your head that says, I don't feel like it. I'm too tired. I'm not up to this today. Whenever you're trying to stay consistent at something that matters to you, like working out, meditating, eating more greens, recording a video, writing a book, it's guaranteed that you're going to hear that voice a lot. I hear that voice all the time. In fact, today, I didn't feel like doing my PT work this morning. My legs are still sore and tired from the last PT therapy I had. And I usually record this podcast before my cleaner comes, and I had to wait for her to leave. And now I'm recording this later in the day. And I don't have that motivation and enthusiasm to do it later in the day, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm not listening to those feelings. So there's going to be some days that you love being focused on your goal, whether it's exercise or recording a podcast, and you're not going to feel like doing it all the time. Just know this. And for those times, I've trained myself to override that voice in my head because I know the power of consistency. Let's say you've been consistent at something for a long time, or you're clear that what you're doing, that you're just done with it. You've given it time. You've done it for an extensive period of time, and you'll know when you want to let that goal go. There was a time when I came to a decision that I no longer wanted to run anymore and not log my miles and not race in races. There was a time I no longer wanted to send out 100 handwritten Christmas cards every year. There was a time I no longer wanted to count calories and keep a food diary. That was many years ago. And the funny one, going way back, it was such a hard habit to break, but it was drinking a daily tab. This is dating me way back to the 70s and 80s. That part of my life was over, and I was ready to write the next chapter. It was all stocked up on tab, and then I told myself I was going to quit drinking it. The same was with diet root beer. It wasn't easy to break that habit of a daily can of soda, and I can't even imagine doing that today. You can pay attention to your feelings, close that chapter, and move on when you know you're ready to do so. And secret number 5 is to get back on the wagon. Here's the thing, you don't want to have an all or nothing mindset. So if you miss one day of walking or meditating or recording a video, don't stop and think that you're a total failure and that you can't start over. None of us are perfect. We are going to have times where we don't show up for ourselves. And there's going to be times when we fall off the wagon. And you will. We all do. And when you spend so much time beating yourself up that you fell off the wagon, but you're just sitting there gazing at it, deciding to be stuck and giving up. But what I want to tell you to do is get right back on. And the sooner you get on, the better. It's better to miss a day than it is a month or a year and just quitting on yourself. So assess why you missed what you wanted to do and get yourself back up, catch the wagon. So those are the 5 secrets to stay consistent, friends. Secret number 1, focus on your why. Secret number 2, choose your goal. Secret number 3, prioritize it. Secret number 4, don't react to your feelings. And secret number 5, get back on the wagon. Now, I would love to know what strategy has helped you be more consistent. Leave a comment and let me know what has worked and what hasn't worked. And do you like this episode? If so, subscribe to my podcast. Leave a short review. It would be amazing if you shared it with your friends. And if you want more great resources to reach an extraordinary goal and create a life you love, stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be with you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.